Pranjal is the outsider who made it. That's the one reason to see this story unfold. Already in just a span of 2 decades, he has an endless number of A++ kind of movies, and he just is unstoppable. He runs 2 production houses at one go, Outsiders LLP and Mango People. And as you can see, the names are also speaks for themselves. Mango People, Aam Aadmi, Love Aajkal, I don't know, I think that's
Yes.
where it's taken from. And Outsiders, okay, is also an Aam Aadmi to an extent. So Pranjal, how has this journey unfolded for you? I mean, how do you recount these last 2 decades? What is the thing that you did right?
Oh, okay. Now that's a very specific question. What did I do right? I think I just didn't stop. I think I would just want to credit that to being the only right thing that I did was not to stop. I thought of things, I dreamt of things, and I worked towards achieving them.
How have your dreams changed in the last 20 years? I mean, I feel that a lot of times when we see interviews or when we see chats, we talk about, okay, I dreamt this one day. But in a changing economy, in the scheme of how technology changes us, our dreams change as well. So
you'll
10
be
years back, what did you
surprised,
dream?
Tarun. I have a very funny answer to this, and the reason why I call it funny is because I genuinely didn't ever dream of doing everything that I'm doing today. Frankly speaking, it was way beyond my means and the humble background that I come from to achieve what I have today. And which is why I say that, this wasn't even my dream. Maybe now I have started dreaming things now that, means are available to us and we've proven ourselves and we have an opportunity to go out there and shine. So maybe dreaming now becomes more legit process. Back then it was only about finding opportunities, grabbing them without questioning what's the purpose, where is this going to take me, how is this going to shape my career. I just kept doing. I tried.
Pranjal, what also interests me is, there are so many people, working executives, people who join jobs, who work in the best firms, and a very, very small percentage of them end up leading companies and, of course, building a very, very sizable kind of, business of their own. And there must have been times where you would have felt, boss, this is dead end. As an executive, I'm not going anywhere. So how did you overcome these dead ends? 1 or 2 incidents? I mean, there must be many incidents like that, but any particular insight, occasion that you would want to say that, okay, see, this is the time I felt it's all over and I did this too.
So frankly, Tarun, I have been fortunate enough of being in places which were pretty much a startup. Even before the startup culture, the way we appreciate and celebrate today was in fashion. I'm talking about 25 years ago. When I started off, just while I was doing my college graduation with an events company, they started doing IFA. And this I'm going back and referring to Wizkart, which is where my first brush of professional work began. It was year 2000 when the first IFA was planned, and I remember all 3 bosses of IFA of Wizkart, how they personally were running around, sitting in autos, delivering invites, making sure that people understand what is International Film Festival that they are planning, how is it going to happen. It was supposed to happen at the Millennium Dome in London. And I was like a very, very tiny, the junior most runner in the system who joined them and started working on it. So since then, ever since everything that I've done, I've been just fortunate enough of being in a place which was growing, which was dreaming big, and which was pretty much starting a new culture. So from there to from directing television for Miritech, where I spent a considerable part of my career, doing non-fiction television, directing shows, conceptualizing shows, moving on to being part of Red Chillies or or leading content at Sony Pictures India. All this experience gave me the bandwidth to think as a leader, but that also comes with responsibilities. And coming back to your question, what is that one thing that kind of puts me to a stop, is the fear that when you are starting, there are so many people that join you with the belief and with the single agenda that you are going to lead them into something. And when you fail, or you are not in a position to deliver, that pressure of not only not fulfilling your own dreams, but
that of so many people
who believed in you, that is a tremendous pressure. And those are the
very
moments.
Unsaid kind of a pressure must be as well, right?
Totally.
Because people believe in your dreams, and they can't hold you accountable.
So that is a tremendous pressure. And there have been occasions like this. The recent one being the pandemic times, when things were just not moving right for our industry, and it was becoming a struggle for us to go out there, shoot, sustain big teams, keep them on payroll. But that was the time where one had to decide what does one want to do. And we were fortunate enough. Now when I look back, those were the days when we had just absolutely no idea how will we pull it off, but we didn't let go of anyone. We didn't cut back on salaries. We just believed that all of us together will stick around and will take care of each other. And it happened so that we survived.
Yeah, I think there is in a way, when we are shooting these things, we can capture the survivors of the pandemic in a way. The pandemic has washed out.
I would rather put this as a happy, positive story as an outcome of pandemic, that at least you realized who are the people you're gonna stick around with. You realize things that you believe in. You realize that going back to basics is okay.
There
are too many positives that came out of
the pandemic as well.
Yes.
So Pranjal, one thing that one very interesting question I have with every businessman, I think it's relevant, especially in service-oriented business, that you create a service or a product for an X price, and the moment you say that this is the price I created this for, the tendency of the buyer is, okay, add 20% and give it to me. And you have made and sold movies for a long time. So how do you maintain your pricing in movies? That's my very random question. How do you make sure that you are profitable? How do you manage the pricing pressure for your, when we make something for very low cost, a short film or an event, we can do it for a very low cost. Okay, 50 रुपए से कुछ हो गया यार, क्या? But if you tell your sponsor that, see, this costs me just $50,000, your sponsor will say, okay, $60,000. Here it is. But you have made a value of, let's say, 5 lakhs. Okay, yeah, this is actually worth this much. So how do you, are there interesting episodes on how your company that you're working for successfully negotiated a very good price? And
so Tarun, however cliche it may sound, but movies is a business of art. While I put pressure on the word business because art has to succeed, or else it will be self-consumed. And pricing the art correctly is absolutely necessary. But at the same time, it's not a commodity which can have an MRP. There is no retail pricing that you put to a film. Yes, there are times when you are in a situation where you have to work backwards and calculate. And there are several factors to it. Maybe the lead actor that you have on board has only a certain potential, combined with the director, combined with your own ability as a producer to put together and churn out a project of a certain scale. So there is a valuation that a studio will assign, saying that, this film I can buy at maximum 100 rupees. So then as a producer, you go back and do the backward calculation and try to fit the film in 100 rupees. Versus what we do here at our production houses, We focus on content, we focus on our stories. Our stories, our content are the ultimate heroes that we pitch to a studio. And luckily for us, they see merit in the content that we are taking to them. And hence our content is valued at what is required. If a film needs to be shot, for example, if Dhak Dhak had to be shot from Delhi to Khardungla, the studio never told us that, shoot it in Lonavala. Or the studio never said that take 100 rupees, that's all you have, and so that we can just go and shoot it in Lonavala. If the story was about 4 women riding from Delhi to the highest motorable road, the studio saw the immense potential in the story and believed that, we need to shoot it at real locations and we need to spend a certain budget to achieve that look and feel. And hence, irrespective of a certain benchmark that women-oriented subjects should be made in a certain budget, or if so-and-so is the lead cast, you should make it in a certain price point, everything was kind of sidelined, and what was budgeted was what was required for the film, and that is how we were able to produce it. So I would consider that this is the true victory of content, where you are not dictated by market terms on pricing, but you make the film in the correct price that the film deserves. And again, I emphasize on the point that pricing is very important. The biggest pitfall of a film failing is not the actor or the director or the marketing going wrong. The biggest pitfall is the pricing. Because when you don't value money, when you don't create something at a price point and you just splurge money, it's wastage.
Then you're bound to
lose. Simple mathematics of any business.
Like, let's say if I want to buy a cappuccino and I say, okay, I have unlimited money, and then suddenly I say, okay, 1,000 bucks. So that okay. Pranjal, one thing that now that we are talking about capital, deployed money, and you're having made such successful films as under your banners, Mango People and Outsiders with Tapasee. One thing that has happened in India is capital has become very widely available. Now it's not so much about, there is a battle for capital, that okay, there are some people who will get capital, there's some people who won't. But versus 10 people who get capital, only one person or one entrepreneur is able to crack something that is of good value. Just like you, there must be around 10 producers who have the capital, but who are bound to make very bad films. So, how do you make sure that, this is the problem that is faced by actors, writers, musicians, directors. They work in production houses, they have money, and their project stops, or it's leaked, it's released in a very, very shabby manner. So what are the things that, why is capital not able to get great films and get great productions and great entrepreneurship?
See, the simple answer to this will be that nobody wants to make a bad film. You make a film, right? Whether it works successfully or not is the question. But you never know, you can never predict. You can only guess about what the audience will like, or what your gut is, or what you feel is going to work. But there is no formula here. So, of the 100 times that you're going to make an effort of making a film, maybe 1, 2 or 5% success ratio is what we all see. Balance 90-95% is definitely something that will not see success. But does that make those films bad films? I really don't know. There could be some films or projects which may not appeal to you.
I'm talking about actually bad films. That when we go to, we live in Bombay, we have the privilege of going to previews and stuff like that. And we know once we see a film in a preview that, boss, this is bad, this is not going to go in front of people. So I'm talking about those films.
So then there is a world where such things happen, and I'm not going to deny that. But those are clearly then not focused on arts. Then the focus is only on business, where you put together a project. You are fixing some rights that you have managed, or you know somebody important, or you have an access to a talent, and you just fix a project for a quick buck that you make out of it, without thinking too much about the product that you are creating, or the love of cinema. Then this is going to happen. I think we should discard such films completely, because the audience is smart enough. They really sense those kind of films from the ones which genuinely attract them. And yes, I think there are businessmen of all types, right? In all industry, that people do different kind of businesses.
Yeah.
But
because it's also disheartening that people who get capital, they are just not able even to make something respectable. I mean, forget about, when we look at a movie, Rashmi Rocket, Dhak Dhak, somebody may say that, I find there's too much art in it. Somebody may say that, I found it very interesting. That's a different battle. You are competing somewhere over here. Like, all right, you are still a movie which is going to be watched for a long time, sometimes less, sometimes more. But then there is an entire list of, capital gone wrong.
No, which is why I'm saying, and it's a.
Is it generally, as in your experience, the investors' biases that result in such products? Is it the entrepreneur generally, the producer or the director?
There could be many reasons.
Many reasons.
Tarun, I tell you, today we also get offers from investors, so-called investors, that we want to invest and make money, make movies with you. Please take our money. And that money comes with a lot of caveats. We want so-and-so heroine, or we want a Filmfare award. So even before you made the film, you want a Filmfare award, comes as a caveat. So people who are investing money also come with a certain kind of weird sense of return on investment. It's not necessarily that they really want their money to be deployed to be made into a good film.
Yeah.
So it all stems from there. Plus, the people who kind of tap into...
as an entrepreneur, this must be a lot of your work as well, right? To identify the right financing partners, because there must be so many people who are walking on to you with very definite offers. Ki, boss, here's the money, we want to work with you.
Just finance is not good enough.
Yeah. So
we need people who are like-minded, who have the same expectation out of their investment and financing. That's more crucial for us.
And so, as an outsider, what are the skill sets? I mean, as we are, I think, so the one thing that, as we were, I think, discussing offline or on, I don't know, that skill and will, is that the mantra I think you're giving?
Yes,
has been your life.
I was reading up about your book, The Hope Factory.
Thanks for the plug-in.
Yes. No. So I remember in our growing up days, hope was a very big word. And I'm sure it still is. But the reason why I refer to it as hope was very big is because there was a generation of people who lived their life thinking and hoping that one day everything will be fine. We were told fairy tale stories which ended hoping that there will be a happy ending. My outlook towards life was slightly different. I stopped hoping for things and I started working towards making things. Maybe that was the only way I could have moved forward, or maybe that's the reason why I just thought that, sitting, hoping, dreaming is not going to help. I'll need to work. And I think today, the younger generation today kind of resonates with this thought that just by dreaming or hoping, it's not really helping us out. What we need is the right aptitude, which is the skill set. And what we definitely need is the willpower to turn that skill set into a productive outcome. So there's every morning that you wake up and you see Sadgurus of the world giving 15-second gyan on Insta Reels, talking about manifestation and talking about wishful thinking and planting it in the universe that good will come to you. I genuinely think, it's great motivational life coaching things to talk about. But eventually what will matter is that, more than just planting or seeding it in the universe that you want something, start working towards it. If you don't work, you are just not gonna get it. So action is more important, and which is why I believe that, skill set and willpower are very, very important things. Whatever be your skill set, whether you want to be an engineer, whether you want to be a filmmaker, whether you want to be a banker, but get the right.
I was trying to break down this skill development thing. You being a very successful entrepreneur and an executive, there's a skill set that is required to be doing leadership. Right? Perhaps it is about spending a lot of time with people in leadership positions across verticals, not just the vertical that you are interested in, and perhaps and then of course trying to lead in small ways. How would you break down the skill sets of a leader? How do you groom yourself to be in this role? Like apart from the fact that there is luck, there is everything else, but this skill thing, how do you address it? Like, let's say if you're talking to an executive today, that okay, I want to be where you are. What are the few things you would say that what Mr. Skills?
So I'll break this question into two parts. One skill set and one about leadership. I'll start with the second half. Leadership is not something that you expect out of everyone, and it's not something that should be there as part of everyone's aptitude.
Okay.
It's okay that you are not a leader. That does not make you just a follower. You can be on your own. You can be yourself. You can do what you want to and just be happy about it. You don't necessarily have to be the leader of the pack and lead everyone and do all of that. That's not the pressure that I'm trying to put on anybody. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, it's still great, because today most entrepreneurs, most startup founders, most techies, they are all on their own. And then they become leaders. So it's not really necessary that you become a leader and then you become big. You become big and then people will follow you.
Yeah, okay.
So that addresses the leadership bit. So the way I have built myself and my career, I think I became a leader by default because I kept delivering with my work, and the more I delivered, people started trusting me with my work. With trust came the people who started following my work, and that's how I built a team and I gradually became a leader. So I wasn't born a leader. I wasn't born in the big families that I get to that leadership position because by the virtue of being born in a certain family or in a certain privilege. I developed into becoming a leader. Now, how did I become that? Is because of the skill set. So developing and understanding what skill set you want to, identify as your core skills is very, very important. We all have a certain aptitude. Whether you prefer maths over logic or logic over arts or arts over analysis, it's fine. But as long as you prefer something, take that and turn it into something which you can make the most of. If you are a math scholar, stick to doing maths. Then you don't need to be rational thinking or analytical thinking, because maths is purely number game. There is a definite answer, there is a definite outcome. If you are more analytical,
maths is maths.
Yeah, maths is maths. It's universal. If you are more artistic, then don't bound yourself with mathematical equations and just go think wild.
That's where maybe the academia definitely differs from real life. That academia is all about being a jack of many trades.
Yeah.
And real life is all about finding out, okay, what can I survive with? What can I do so well that I'll survive on the basis of that skills.
Unfortunately, the Indian education system introduces specialization at a very later stage.
Who's the one person in your real life amongst all of these stalwarts that you've worked with who has impacted you the most?
In terms of gaining a personality, in terms of having an outlook towards life, in terms of leading the way I'm leading things right now, I would want to take a couple of names. When we were, I was an employee with Shah Rukh Khan's Red Chillies. Uh, while I may not be that big a fan of the actor Shah Rukh Khan, but he is an outstanding human being. His personality, his knowledge, his thoughts, his way of life, the way he conducts himself, the way he behaves with people around, his philosophies, it's so mesmerizing to have at least even a 5 minutes window with that man, and he can change your perspective. So there is a great amount of influence which comes from there. There is a great amount of leadership influence which comes from one of my super bosses, NP Singh, Mr. NP Singh, who's the CEO of Sony Pictures, CEO of a company which has more than 1200 employees. But the man, if you meet him in the elevator of the office building, he would call you by your name and check with you as to how are you doing and how's it been with you in the system. So he's so that involved with everyone. So as a leader, I would aspire to be someone like him.
So,
plus there are many people who influence you on a daily basis.
you want to talk about how your partnership with Tapasee came about, and you started Outsiders Films as well.
Okay, so when you don't come of privileges, the only way you move forward is by finding your own tribe. You build your tribe, right? And which is where people you meet and the special people who turn out to be the backbone of your life, or your supporters or your advisors, they become very, very important in your life. So Tapasee and I started off purely on a professional relationship where we had offered her a film called Surma, which we produced at Sony Pictures. She was in Hyderabad, she was doing a shoot, but she took the offer so seriously, and our condition, the only condition was that, we would still want you to come down and meet the director Shad Ali. And there was a situation that, she had to take the flight same night, come see Shad and get a narration. And because we wanted her to be casted in a certain way, that meeting was very important. Her professionalism, she dropped everything, got a flight, came down, met us, kind of impressed us thoroughly, and she was on the job. And then rest is history. We became friends while the shooting was on. We became neighbors. We moved into the same complex, and our friendship started growing. So one fine day, the thought came that, while we both are so passionate about working on films, while we both bring our own skill sets, her being an actor, me being on the creative and the production side, so it was only a win-win situation to take our friendship and turn it into a business partnership. And that is how Outsiders started.
Born. So I think we have had and I think the animation, the thoughts, the wide variety of things we have talked about can go on rather endlessly. And I think, as we say in movies or any entertainment product, you leave people hanging a bit and waiting for more.
Yes.
So any Pranjal, any last thoughts that you would like to share, and perhaps?
Tarun, genuinely I feel that what is happening is people are not investing themselves enough into doing something.
Okay.
And that has been my observation, and something that I am very deeply getting concerned with of late. I don't want to bracket it into a certain generation, but overall people are not making or not giving their 100% into something. Everyone's looking for a quick fix, everyone's looking for a easy way out, everyone's trying to just maneuver things around. I think a quick shortcut will definitely give you some instantaneous gratification, but that doesn't really last long enough. If you are here for a career, if you are here for a lifetime, if you are here for making a mark for yourself, you will need to stay invested in what you are doing and how you are doing things, and that is most important.
And I think we can see that across the industries at big scale as well. Lot of big companies, ed tech startups and all. Real learning is physical, but they are, all of them was so many just pure online education and all, and they tanked big time because basic fundamentals were lacking. But they offered you a shortcut. You thought it will take you there.
Everything is knee-jerk today. Approvals are knee-jerk, rejections are knee-jerk. Everything comes without a thorough belief or a research or something that is more strategic. We all just are now so used to instant food, instant money, instant gratification. Everything is instant.
And all of your movie projects are or require a lot of commitment with a lot of trying moments across the cycle of the project. It can stop at writing, it can stop at signing, it can stop at shooting, it can stop at production. All of the tasks that you do, they require a lot of extended promotion, extended commitment to make sure that you reach there.
There is rejection at every level. You got to be ready for it. I don't think if one morning you wake up and you realize that somebody is not rejected one of your ideas, it's bound to happen. Today only when Dhak Dhak is such a big success that people are talking about it and appreciating us. But 3 years ago when we were in the market talking to people about this, the first reaction was, are you even serious about doing a film like this? Who will watch it? How will you make it?
It's a bad idea.
Yeah. So I think every time somebody says it's a bad idea, or every time somebody says that no, this may not work, I think
it's a reassurance.
We
are onto something.
Yeah.
We are onto something.
Yeah, you're doing something which is going to be path breaking.
So I think that's the note at which we can wrap up the discussion, and let's have one more discussion very soon. So thanks a lot, Pranjal.
Thank you, Tarun, for taking out time and having this chat with me.
Thanks a lot for the privilege of taking your time.
Pleasure.